It's crazy.
And it's a blessing, and I feel people don't really utilize it.
No.
Because they're scared, or they think, well, it's going to take over. It's going to take over whether you like it or not.
Right.
So might as well jump on board.
Yeah.
And it's, again, going back to those beliefs that I feel that it comes a lot to do with how we grew up, but also in our mindset. And we don't work on it. And that's a big thing for me.
This is the Leo Climaco Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Leo Climaco Podcast. My guest today is Jeanette Miranda. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing great. Better now. How are you?
Doing very, very well. I am so happy that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. I love interviewing podcasters because we have that same energy. Yeah. We get it. You know,
that's why I was like, I know it's going to be so fun. Like, I didn't even bother asking topics or anything. I just love the conversation.
Exactly.
For it to flow.
Exactly.
It's different.
100%. All right. I want to know a little bit about you. I want to know how you met Christine. Because I know Christine.
Yeah.
They've actually shot the pilot episode of the top American bikini chef.
Beautiful.
They shot it here.
Doing so many great things.
Yes, it was incredible.
And I'm now the president of the Divas Local Miami chapter.
That's awesome. So congratulations.
Thank you. And everything really started from my Rooted in Her movement. I was launching an event and I asked her one day, I reached out to her on DM, such an amazing human being. And
she really is.
I just said, hey, I know you have a lot of followers. I know you don't know me, but I really feel like you have a powerful movement, community, and your voice, who you are. And this is what I've built around Rooted in Her, right? Empowering women to share their stories and to connect with one another. And she said, absolutely, I'm in. And she spoke at one of my events.
That's awesome.
Later, she spoke at a second one. And we've had that beautiful relationship where we support each other. And I think that's powerful, especially that it came from social media.
That's really cool. It just shows the power of social media, right? It's a tool, like any other tool. Could be used for harm or for good. But when it's used for good, it's super powerful.
It is.
It connects so many people. It's incredible. How did you start coaching?
Well, it goes back to my roots. Growing up, I didn't come from entrepreneurship family. They all had the belief of me going to college, following the family tradition of doing nursing. That was not
I was going to say
passion.
doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Yes, that was not my passion whatsoever. I ended up in corporate America, which then I was also in the entertainment industry. So it was kind of my full-time job as I was trying to hustle my vision, my mission, my part-time job. And that led me to really rediscovering entrepreneurship. And in the process, I started doing fitness. I started seeing how my body was transformed.
Are you from Miami?
Yes, born and raised, family Cuban. And I started also in the process helping other women. And to me, that was always like my number one, was helping other women find confidence within themselves, right? And rebuilding that strength, that story as well, that narrative that they tell themselves that they can do something. So it started from transforming their beliefs and also their bodies, right? If you wanted to lose weight, if you wanted to build muscle. And then I got also into bodybuilding for myself. Because I felt also such a relief when you train, right? And that just became a passion where I would compete and then I would train others and then I would do coaching as well. And that's what got me into the fitness industry.
Very, very cool. I love that. I love how, do you know who Garrett J. White is?
Yes.
So he talks about body being balance in business, right? I think for most people, their body is their first domino.
100%.
Right? It's the first thing that they let go is their temple.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you realign that, everything else falls in line. It's just like, I feel like working out builds so much discipline. It builds so much momentum, so much self-worth, so much self-value.
It does. And
right?
your mental health too.
Yes.
People don't realize it. Like if I'm stressed out, I'm not having a good day, just going to work out.
Yeah.
It gives me such a peace of mind that it makes me recharge.
Yes. It's me time.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I get in there and just smash those weights, put on my headphones and I just zone out.
I love that. And then when you're involved in coaching is seeing that transformation that happens to others in the process.
Correct. My favorite part is the effect that I see on my kids from me working out. Because they go, Daddy, you're going to the gym? Yeah, I'm going to the gym. Or me eating healthy. Daddy, can I try that? You know, and you see how that just passes down to them.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that because a couple of years ago, we started gluten-free, organic, right? And we've seen a transformation in our household.
Oh, yeah.
Even like
It's
my
crazy.
husband from having high blood pressure, not having any right now, right? My kids too, with so many skin issues, you know, and I know you're also in the field of autism
I am.
and speech delay, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen also how much it has helped my kids in speech delay. We would take them to therapy and I felt like they were an improvement. I know it's also where we were probably taking them that they weren't really investing the right tools or the time for them. But once we started really feeding them with the right nutrients and learning more in depth of the toxic, the reds, right? Things started shifting in our household. And now it's like when we go out there, like, oh, Mom, is this and that? Is this gluten-free?
Right.
Is this organic? Like, they know. And same thing with fitness. Like,
Yes.
they love going to the daycare at the gym just to know that they went with us. And that's inspiring
awesome.
to see them at such a young age.
Isn't it crazy how we have to navigate and like figure out what food is good and what food is bad?
So crazy.
Like, it's insane. These preservatives and toxins and plastic and everything else that they could think of that they put in. That the Ozempic shot.
Yeah.
So the food industry is now trying to create food with special molecules inside of it that bypass the Ozempic shot.
Wow.
Yeah, it goes around it. So I guess the shot is to curb your hunger, but this food will increase your hunger.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's insane that that's even allowed.
It is insane. It is insane. And that people depend on it too.
Yeah.
You know, like there's no anymore here, follow this plan, go work out, get your cardio in, just drink your water. Now it's like, why would I need to do any of that if I can just get something overnight that's going to work?
You take a shot.
And that's where a lot of depression, you know, anxiety, stress levels rise and people don't realize it.
These women, when they're coming to you, what are they mainly seeking?
A support system to be heard, to be seen, you know, especially coming from motherhood, toxic relationships, toxic patterns, with Taboo Talks, breaking culture expectations, right? We feel that we struggle alone or we're not loud enough.
I love that title, by the way, Taboo Talks.
Taboo
That's
Talks,
such a good idea.
Yes. The founder and as me as the co-founder, we wanted to really just relate with other women and have a platform that is not just saying that we're doing something, but doing it together.
Actually doing something about it.
And I feel like with social media nowadays, it's everybody paints the pretty pictures, right? Everybody wears all these filters. Everybody have this perfect life, which we don't. So once we start having those real raw conversations, they're like, wow, I can relate. I feel seen. I feel heard, especially when it's during the healing phase that we don't do as women because we're always on the go.
Right.
And I think that's powerful.
Extremely. What's your favorite taboo topic that you guys talk about on the show?
Mental health.
It's a big one.
We don't really talk about it.
No.
I feel like we tend to put it on the back burner.
Yeah.
And especially growing up in the Latino household, we say terapias pa locos. You know, you're not crazy, just ponte a limpiar, do this, do that.
Yep.
You know, it's not like really, how can I help you? How can I support you? Like, we don't have those conversations. So we're trying to really break that next generation of, you know, I know we were raised this way and we appreciate our parents, right, for what they gave us.
100%.
But we can break those chains to move on and say, we're going to do better moving forward.
Yeah, we can no longer just sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, correct.
We
And then
can't.
the other one is culture expectations of like having your 9 to 5, having this career that maybe you are unhappy, but it's at the moment what makes your family happy.
Right.
And you follow this for the rest of your life. And then you wonder, well, I wish I could have done this. And I ask so many of them, what would you like to do? And they're like, well, if I could do something, I would do this. I'm like, what's stopping you? Well, my family, they all come from doctors. You know, they all have these expectations that being an influencer or following my dreams, coaching or mentoring, it's not for me.
Yeah.
That doesn't pay you or that doesn't last.
Right.
And it's that expectation
It's not respectable.
that we carry. Yes, that we carry or they make fun of us.
Yes.
But then they're the ones scrolling 24/7 on TikTok supporting others, right? And it's crazy. But it's kind of breaking those expectations that we need.
That one hits hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm Brazilian. So I understand the whole Latin dynamic very well. And like I've quit my job growing up about 20 years ago several times trying to be an entrepreneur.
Crazy.
Like 2 or 3 times. And every single time my parents would ridicule me.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're wasting your money. Go get a job. You had a great job and da-da-da. It was secure. You had a pension and this and that. And I don't want any of that.
Yeah.
I want to go risk it. I want to go try something, create something for myself.
Yeah.
And not be limited to this 9-to-5 framework that I have no movement in. You know, this up and down movement, no sideways, no diagonal. You know what I mean?
That makes you fulfilled, that gives you peace, that brings you joy. You know, and you look at them today and they're the ones that they're like, I wish I would have done this. And again, I wish I would have done that, but they still not encouraging you to dream big. And we can't blame them, right? I feel like they didn't have that support system. They did the best they can.
I agree.
Helping us be where we are today, but it's time for us to break that.
Yeah. I think the ones that are stuck are millennials.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Gen Z, they're all about it. They want to be YouTubers. They want to be influencers, right? They want to be on TV. But millennials are the ones that are like, we're the bridge.
Yeah,
right.
We're still on that. I do, but I don't.
Right.
Or I'm gonna do a little bit here and a little bit there.
Yeah.
I spoke at a school last year, and when I asked the kids that were in middle school, what do you want to be when you grow up? 99%, they all wanted to be YouTubers, wrestlers. You know, they wanted to do something that was nothing to do with like the traditional career.
Expressive, creative, artistic.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's where the next generations are all heading. And I think social media, computer, AI helps with all that. The huge one, because, I mean, you can literally think of something and go create it, right? Instantaneously, you can develop a full idea, a full business plan in 2 seconds.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
And it's a blessing, and I feel people don't really utilize it.
No.
Because they're scared, or they think, well, it's going to take over. It's going to take over whether you like it or not.
Right.
So might as well jump on board.
Yeah.
And it's, again, going back to those beliefs that I feel that it comes a lot to do with how we grew up, but also in our mindset. And we don't work on it. And that's a big thing for me too, is like I had to do a lot of mindset work to be where I am today, or to even like be a better wife, be a better mother, be a better friend. Because if I would not have healed or have worked on those patterns, I feel like my life would have been completely different.
Yeah, 100%. I know what you mean. And I think it's like, I think that there's a huge awakening occurring, right? Where like people like yourself are understanding the fact that we need to evolve.
Yeah.
We need to heal. We need to break these chains and heal these wounds, right? And show the next generation that we can do better.
100%.
You know? And be the bridge that we're supposed to be as millennials.
Correct. And not just say it, but do the walk as well.
Yeah.
Which that's the important part.
Yeah.
That we have all this platform, but we're not utilizing how we should.
Why do you think so many people get stuck?
What people are going to think. And I posted on my stories a while
That's
back on my
huge.
Facebook. And their number one hesitation of not moving forward with the business, not quitting their 9-to-5, not pursuing anything that they would like to do is because what are people going to say? And it's either coming from their families,
that's crazy,
or those on social media who are just watching your stories, right? And they're hesitant. And I think that's really sad because we can break it, but we need to be determined to do so.
Yes.
You know, it's easy to just scroll and say, I want to get things done, but actually put in the work, it's differently, and acknowledging it too, because a lot of people don't. They just say, this is how I grew up, or this is how I have to do things, and I'm not going to change. You know, or I wasn't born to be rich, right? It's just that mindset and those beliefs.
To me, that like defeats the purpose of being alive.
Yeah.
You know?
Finding your purpose.
Like, yeah, you're alive to be static, right? To just be the same person every single year over and over and over again. No growth, no change.
100%. And to know that nothing is secure.
Yeah.
We learned that through COVID. I learned that through my corporate America job, the time that I was in there, that you know, a little mistake, no matter how amazing you are, how good you are, how much you show up, you know, even when I remember people would not show up for work, they will call me and I will be there, right? One slight mistake, they will just let you go. And I feel that more people are realizing that, especially again, after COVID, right? that they have to find a plan B. They have to not get comfortable anymore, but they're still not breaking free from those beliefs that they can achieve bigger things and that they were here for a bigger purpose.
My favorite quote is the man in the arena back there. It was a speech given by President Roosevelt in 1910. And it basically says that he would rather be in the arena, win, lose, or draw, than to be a spectator.
Oof, powerful.
Yeah. Because he understands the power that just by being in the arena, you're living. Even if you get your head chopped off.
Wow.
You're living a better life than the one sitting watching.
That is very powerful.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. No. They're scared of that.
They are. And they're holding themselves back.
Yeah.
Because to see the percentage and how many people don't really live with their purpose in this world because they're scared what people are going to think.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It's very sad. It's very sad. And I get it. Yeah. I get it because I went through it, right?
I mean, we all did.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody judged me, everyone. And I had that belief of, I don't care.
Yeah.
I am going to try this. Like, what do I have to lose? You know, like I had a career that if all failed, I can go back to.
100%.
You know, so let's go. It's just money. It'll come back. The time is now.
Yeah, just run with it. You never know.
100%.
And if it was implanted in your mind, in your heart, it was for a reason.
Yes.
You know, and I also think that sometimes we're like, oh, if it's meant for me, it'll come around. Sometimes you get just one chance, or you might get multiple, and you keep waiting.
Correct.
For that perfect moment. You never take it.
That door,
we all have
100%. That doorbell's only going to ring a few times.
Yeah.
You know, you better answer it. Ready or not, jump in, go, swim.
It's so true. And, you know, going back, like I pivoted so much in my life. And even now, like with my kids and those who look up to me or they give me their compliments, you know, they're like, wow, to know your story is inspiring, but I don't realize it, right? Because we're always so hard on ourselves.
Yes.
But the way that we've been able to pivot in every situation, like I knew like within me, I've always loved music. I love modeling, acting. And I did that at a very young age. I never felt like I fully embraced it because it wasn't really in my family. And it was something that I would do everything in my power. I would go to castings. I would do everything that I could. But I always had that belief, well, I wasn't meant to do this. Nobody in my family is, or what are they going to think? Like they will always tell me that doesn't make you money. Or once your beauty is gone, what are you going to do? Once you have kids, your body, what are you going to do?
All this BS.
It was always that. And I always carried that, but I always pushed through. So I remember when I had my first baby, I proved to myself, and for the first time I had abs. Because I said to myself, I am going to get the body back. I'm not going to just do it for them. I'm going to do it for myself.
That's awesome.
Prove that I could do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we have to sometimes just break free from is those beliefs and knowing that you got to show up for yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. And I've encountered situations over again where opportunities that I feel I should have taken, I didn't. And it goes back to those beliefs of, well, there's always going to be next time, or my family's more important now in that time, you know, whatever they think, I shouldn't go over their judgment. And I regret it, honestly. But I also believe everything happens for a reason, and I am today because of those decisions too.
Who were your mentors growing up? Who did you look up to? Who showed you this driven path?
I have an uncle in Cuba that he's still there. I just saw him recently. He's always had a passion for the entertainment industry. And he was a very known director in Cuba. And he did a lot of big movies. And to me, that was always like, I always felt that I carry that with me, even though I wasn't raised with him because I was born here. But when I just recently saw him, we really connected, and he shared all the stories. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
This is why I think like this when I'm watching a movie, or why I act like that, right? Because I've always felt that there was somebody in my family that carried that, but I never fully got to hear the story. Because
genetics don't lie.
It never lies. And it's crazy because now families don't gather and they don't share stories anymore. And I think that's powerful.
Very.
And that was really like why I wanted to come up with Rooted in Her.
Yeah.
because I feel like stories connect us. And how I
100%.
felt once, I know there's somebody out there going through it too, especially after becoming a mom. You know, coming from like entertainment industry, I auditioned for the WWE in 2017.
That's
I did
awesome.
so many things that I am very proud of.
As a podcaster, I needed a place to share my voice and hear other stories. That's how Forge Studios was born. A place created not just for me, but for everyone searching for something more. An environment where as soon as you walk in, you feel the energy and you feel welcomed. Where being seen and heard is part of the experience. A place for entrepreneurs to share their journey, for creators to bring ideas to life, for businesses to grow authentically. A space that values mental health, encourages real conversations, and supports those who turns ideas into impact. Here at the Forge Studios, creativity, culture, and purpose aligns and comes together to help you create something greater. A place where we leave the filters behind and we start expressing ourselves for real. The Forge Studio. Your journey starts here. Your impact starts now.
And I don't pat myself on the back for.
We got to go into that.
But then after I had my kids, I felt like an identity shift. I felt like I really lost my identity because I was doing so much before, and now I'm like learning to be still. That was the hardest thing to do. You know, to be a mom, be a present mom, and then how do I navigate postpartum, motherhood, while going through the identity shift of who am I becoming now in this process?
Right.
And
will this be my life now?
Yes. And I was like, okay, now I wanted to do this. Now, what am I meant to do?
Right.
And that's when I really dig deeper into those beliefs and those roots of where I came from. And knowing if I overcame all of this before, I will overcome this. And maybe I'm just meant to be a mom right now because I've had miscarriages before. You know, so it's things that I had to like continue to go back and forth and learn in the process to know that I will overcome it, but that there's a story to it of who I am today and everything I've built. Thanks to that, those communities that are inspiring others.
I think the hardest thing for driven people to do is to take time and smell the roses. It's so difficult.
To learn to stay still in the process.
Yes, we just want to go.
Yeah. And we don't learn
What's
to
next?
embrace those moments or just be grateful.
Yeah. And those are special moments with your newborn, with your baby.
They are, especially coming from having miscarriages in the past. I had a stillbirth, and nobody fully knows that story because I haven't been loud about it enough. And now with Taboo Talks, I'm giving the opportunity to do that.
That's awesome.
But I had a stillbirth, and it was on Mother's Day in 2014.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and then I remember now I can talk about it, but then I couldn't without tearing myself out.
I could imagine.
And it just makes you, realize that there is a timing for everything. I don't know. Then I didn't know why I went through it because I thought I didn't deserve it. But today it really marks in my life the reason why. Because not only is it to be grateful and appreciate my family today and my kids, but also to give hope to other women going through it, whether it's miscarriage, IVF, stillbirth, that there's still hope and that there's still a rainbow at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. Life is so crazy how like God has an idea for you, right? But for you to get there, man, I got to bring you through hell and back and up and down for you to actually be this warrior that's going to go out there and serve.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, because if you would ask me years ago, I would not imagine that I would be here today.
Yeah.
Running communities, coaching others. Now the president of the Miami Divas chapter.
That's incredible.
Because it's all about empowering women. And I'm just so passionate about that. Because I've been there before and I've done the walk. And if I've been through it, I know that others can also go through it, but walk out of it even better. They just need that push and they just need that accountability and that person to remind them of their worth because we don't see it in ourselves. Yeah.
And I think it's great what you're doing. I think more voices like yours are required out there.
Thank you.
To bring women together, to break these barriers and to speak about these topics that are taboo, but so important and so critical to health, to life, to sanity.
And the healing part of it.
Yes.
That I feel, especially in Miami, there's so many networking events.
Yes.
And we go, we connect, we exchange business cards. But there's not really that connection of how are you? How really are you? Right? And how can I help you? How can we work together?
Right.
But also not just let's meet one night and collaborate and connect, right? But the stories that we share that reminds us that we're not alone in the process, and the mentorship aspect of it.
Right.
Which that's important too. It's not just take your business card and go home. Now, how can you utilize that to have a thriving business or thrive in your personal life too?
Right.
And that's what my goal is to do with the Miami chapter, is to continue to bring women together for healing, growth, stories, but also for the mentorship aspect that I feel we're lacking more of, especially with all the gurus on social media.
There's so many.
You can pay so much money and you still don't get the support you need. And there's nothing like that one-on-one connection.
And I do feel like, to your point, when you go to these meetings, you're not meeting the real person, right? It's their rep, it's their mask. You got to go through those layers to really see who they are and find out, how are you? Are you okay? How are you doing? And I think it requires something a little deeper, which is a mastermind. Something that you get people in a couple days and you really peel through those layers and really get to know who they are and what's going on in their lives.
And to get to hear from one another, because how the mindset shift worked for me, you might have a different technique that works for you, right? And I think that's important. And also in business, not just exchanging business cards, but how can we really thrive in your business and support you to get to the next level? Through word of mouth, referrals, websites, funnels, ads, right? Like so many opportunities you have to expand. And I feel we lack that, especially as women, right? I feel like we don't have, they don't see us as that we own the power, right? When you hear masterminds, I always see it as a group of men, which is powerful. It's great. But I want to start breaking that stigma of like, it's just a man. No, it's women too. We deserve to also become
100%.
To run businesses, to still be a wife and still have our kids and make things happen.
Right. I'm sick and tired of this idea of like battle against the sexes.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean? Like, man, we're all so powerful in different ways. And I think if we learn to use and channel each other's energies, we can be so much more powerful together.
100%. And it's really understanding those needs and those roles. And I think that's what makes also a relationship stronger, right? It's like knowing what I can do, what you can do.
Exactly. How we complement each other.
Correct.
The yin to the yang.
Correct. And just understanding that you can evolve and you can have a good relationship and you can have what you really want in life, but you need to believe in it. And you 100%. Need to become that person. I feel like a lot of my past relationships too, it was based on what you can do for me or how you make me feel. But then I never did the work to really understand that it's not about them all the time. It's also about me.
Yes.
And I believe once you heal from that or you truly understand the power, you really start seeing your life transform and you start attracting the right people, the right relationships, the right partners. And I think that's also powerful when we start embracing that.
100%. I mean, I gotta tell you, my wife has completely changed my life. We've been together 19 years, married for 9 years, 2 kids. And I am definitely a better man, a better human being because of her, because of her softness, because of the way that she is. So how she compliments me and how she has helped shape how I see the world.
That's beautiful.
And like, the lack of that energy would have been so detrimental in my life that I don't want to fight with that. I want to unite with that.
Yeah.
Become one with it.
It's too to have that.
Yeah.
And I feel that's where a lot of relationships lack now. It's what can I do for myself, not how can we work as a team.
Right.
Or again, seeing the wins and seeing what are your weaknesses, what are my strengths, or what's your role really.
Right.
Because again, at my house, it's a great team that we have. I know his roles and I know mine. I also know that I have to run my communities, show up for YouTube and still be a mom for my boys. Not that he's not being the father, but it's just the roles that we are at the moment.
Your kids need both mom and dad.
Correct. And it's understanding that, right? And I feel like we just tend to get it on the men. You're not doing enough. You're not being present. You have to give more. Or the other way around too, when you have to see it as different roles different times and seasons too. And that's what builds the relationship as well.
100%. And I feel also, to your point, these roles can change.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the woman cooks. Anybody can cook. Who's doing it today? Who's doing it tomorrow? Could it be you? Could it be me? Whatever. Who's doing the laundry? Who's putting the kids to sleep? Who's bathing them? I feel like these things are all interchangeable, right? And it's like understanding your partner, understanding where they're at that day. Maybe they're exhausted. I'll pick up the slack a little bit, I'll do this, I'll do that, or vice versa. It's just a matter of understanding, communication, and being there for one another.
And that's important. I feel that's what we lack more in all aspects. In today's world with technology, with scrolling, with comparing our lives to others, that we don't realize what we have next to us.
That comparing thing, it's
sad.
It's
and that
sad.
goes in everything. Like you see people like they're scrolling, I wish I can do that, and they're scrolling at their 9 to 5 miserable. Well, get off the scrolling, put a business plan together, put your vision out there. What is it that you need to get done in order to not be at your 9 to 5 and struggle?
Right.
Start setting those plans. And I feel that's what we lack too. It's easier to complain all the time.
Much
not
easier.
Put in the work and the action to get to where we want to get. Like finding the right men, right? And I get that from a lot of the girls too. Oh, there's no good men out there. Yes, they are, but who are the men that you're looking at? Or who are the ones that you're looking for?
Right.
And those little things that I feel as women, we also have to remind ourselves of, like our worth, that we shouldn't put it on anyone. But then as we're looking for our partners, we're looking for the right career, we're looking for the relationships, the friendships, what is it that we're trying to look for?
What do you think these women mean when they say good men? What are they looking for? What's a good man?
The number one thing is I don't want them to cheat on me. It's like the struggle that, and I've been there too, right? Is the struggle that we carry with us.
Yeah.
It's like they're all cheaters. They're all the same, And I know it's because of our past.
Yeah.
And probably the relationships we dealt, the situations we've come across, right? But a lot of that also has to do with our healing. Because once we know our worth, once we know our potential, and that we shouldn't put it on any man, on any career, on anyone, then things start really transforming for you in different aspects. And I think that we should have those limiting beliefs removed from our lives in order for us to attract it. Because if you are looking for a man and you're like, well, there's no any good men out there, you're not going to find any good men. And also, where are you looking for them?
Right.
Too, and I think that was the number one, is that we don't believe in them and we think they're all cheaters.
Do you think that belief is due to a lack of self-worth?
Yes. Yes, and I know I say that it takes two.
Yeah.
But it also, it comes from you.
Yeah.
And that's why, going back to rooted in her, I have the belief that everything is within you, right? It all starts from inside. Those beliefs, those generational cycle breakers, like everything that we're trying to do, it's how we were raised, how we were taught, what we see, who we surround ourselves with. And once you really start seeing that worth in you, and you realize that, again, it doesn't depend on any man or anyone to make you feel capable of dreaming big or of beauty inside you, things shift. So yes, it starts definitely from that belief within yourself.
It's much easier to blame the man, blame the government, blame this, blame that, right? I don't have this, I don't have that. It's much easier to play that game than to actually say, okay, no, how can I get this, right?
How can I get it? Yeah. Yeah, it's going back to nutrition too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, everything is expensive, so if I go to gluten-free, I'm going to pay double. So what is it that you want? So do you care about your health?
Right.
Do you want a better health system?
Yeah.
Right? And those are the factors that I feel it's easier for all of us to compare and to all the time just feel that, you want more, but you don't want to work it.
Right. Okay. You mentioned WWE.
Yes.
Very intrigued by that. Tell me more about that.
It's crazy, and I feel like sometimes when you're meant to do something, it finds you. I have a Model Mayhem profile where I had, when I was doing my modeling.
Yeah.
And that's where I will book a lot of gigs.
Okay.
And one day I got a message, and they're like, hey, from one of their reps, we love your look. I had my red hair extensions all the way down here, and they're like, we love, you do fitness, you do acting, and this is what we're seeking for. We have a trial happening where you like to join. And I thought it was a scam. I'm like, there's no way. Why would they reach out to me? I'm sure they have a wait list.
Right.
I really didn't believe it. I said, let me just reply back. I'll figure out if it's a scam or not.
Right.
And then they got me in connection with the person who books your flights and everything. And of course, I did all my research because it's not just I'm going to jump on the plane and get there.
Right.
But everything seemed legit. And I was able to go to the WWE Performance Center.
That's
I was
so
there for
cool.
3 days.
Where?
In Orlando, Florida.
That's awesome.
It was beautiful. To know that I grew up with it, with my brother,
Yes.
always watching it, and I wasn't like a huge fan, but I did.
You grew up
know
around
about,
it.
Yeah,
Right,
of
of
course. So I
course.
was like, I loved it. Let me just run with it. And actually, when I got on the wrestling match, it felt great. I loved it.
Really?
I couldn't explain it. And on the last day, which I had to do a wrestling match, I messed up my neck. Yeah, so that took me out immediately and disqualified, even though they were still going to verify and send me an email if I pushed through, but I didn't. So it always goes back to the what if, right?
Yes.
But just getting the opportunity to be there was amazing.
That's so
it's
cool.
just to dream big and to go for it.
Yeah.
I could have just declined it and say, I'm not meant to do that. That's not in my background.
Right.
I just added it to my resume. And I thought it was a pretty big deal.
That's so cool. I love that. Because like, one would never think that you would do that. No.
It was never in my vision board or ever did I thought about, oh yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was able to be there, it just proved to me, regardless of the outcome, that sky is the limit.
Yes.
That
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. You just have to believe and also follow your gut feeling.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times, and going back to when I was in music, I auditioned for The Voice. And I remember I made it to in front of the judges because everything was virtually. And I was super young and going back to the beliefs of the cultural expectations.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I can't. I'm too nervous. I'm not going to show up. And I didn't show up. And that always kind of took a lot of me because I did have a manager in the music industry and I was going to get signed by Sony BMG. He proposed to me right before the contract.
Really?
I said no. I wasn't even 18 years old yet.
Oh my goodness.
And I said no, and I knew that was like the end of it. And it gets me emotional because what if, right? You always think about it.
Yeah.
And to know that you have potential and you have the ability to make things happen, but because you could, you said no, let's say your contract ended. And I never got like the spotlight. I never got the opportunity. And it was so much that was going to happen with that contract that I had so many hopes, especially being so young and ambitious and having this big dream that then I was like, wow, it's just so sad. And I know so many artists out there live through it too, of like, having their breakthrough, but then being tied to the music industry, which unfortunately, I've lived through it and it's very sad. And with everything coming out, from P. Diddy and, I do believe it because I've been there before. And it's scary because I've had to turn down a lot and walk out or not show up to locations because I didn't feel in my gut feeling that I should. And then something would happen. And it's always like, okay, well, it wasn't meant for me.
Spidey sense.
Yeah. And, but yeah, it's going back to like, wow, that's what I'm saying. Like my story, when you dig deeper, it's a lot of pivoting moments. But because of all of that, I know I am where I'm supposed to be today. And that has really been part of my becoming.
Something tells me that was probably the best thing that happened in your life.
100%. And I remember going to this concert once, and I asked the artist, what's an advice you can give me that I want to be a singer? And she told me, choose another career. And I have goosebumps. And
Don't do it.
And I was like, you're singing in front of a million people. What do you mean this is your dream? And more I realize it. Why? Because the levels of depression, of, you can have all the money and all
There's
the
a trade-off.
Yeah. And it's sad, because you get to live your dream, but then what happens in the door and when the doors close, and that's what people don't see it. And that's why every time that a celebrity passes away or I see actors, and I'm like, I can just feel that pain. Yeah. Because I've been there before and I feel I didn't make it. And it wasn't because of my talent or my lack of commitment, but because of the industry.
The expectations.
Yeah.
Having to live up to that. It's too much.
It's
too much. Yeah. A lot of them, most of them are all messed up in the head.
They are. And it's just fake it until you make it kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? And showing up even when you just went through a breakup or through a family loss, and
Right.
you got to keep showing up, right? Because that's what the fans expect from you. But it's also, there comes a time where that passion that you have starts fading away because it doesn't even turn into something you love anymore. You know? So I know that it was a reason why I didn't go through it, but going through it still hurt a lot. And I still felt like, well, God, if you gave me all these beautiful talents, why can't I have a breakthrough with one, right? Until now that I realize my whole mission behind
Hey,
it.
it's never too late.
I agree.
It's never too late.
Opportunities still come by.
It's
and I'm
never
like,
too late.
It's never too late to shoot.
Yeah.
As a podcaster, I needed a place to share my voice and hear other stories. That's how Forge Studios was born. A place created not just for me, but for everyone searching for something more. An environment where as soon as you walk in, you feel the energy and you feel welcomed. Where being seen and heard is part of the experience. A place for entrepreneurs to share their journey, for creators to bring ideas to life, for businesses to grow authentically. A space that values mental health, encourages real conversations, and supports those who turns ideas into impact. Here at the Forge Studios, creativity, culture, and purpose aligns and comes together to help you create something greater. A place where we leave the filters behind and we start expressing ourselves for real. The Forge Studio. Your journey starts here. Your impact starts now.
Sony could be around the corner. Talk to me about the Divas. How did that grow into your life? How did you become the president of the Diva chapter in Miami?
So Christine reached out to me and she was like, I have this amazing opportunity for you. I feel it's already aligned with what you're doing with women empowering, with events, with community. Will you be open to it? And I, without hesitation, I go, yes. We jump on a call, and when she shared her mission, it's always something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because I host monthly events.
Okay.
And I just relaunched them. I had stopped a while back because I felt discouragement. I was running it by myself. It was a lot that I felt that I couldn't at the time, and I put it on hold. So when I decided to relaunch, Christine had reached out. So I do her next chapter, which is once a month.
Okay.
On helping women on their becoming of just sharing our stories, connecting, collaborating.
That's awesome.
And then now with the Divas Local, it's really connecting us, especially here in Miami, building that foundation of women leaders, entrepreneurs, of sharing our stories, of really having that sisterhood of connecting us, but also helping us thrive in our business and personal life.
Right.
I feel that we can have that safe haven of us getting together in one room, but not just to get to heal and support one another, but also learn from each other. And I think it's so important in today's world.
It's so important. What I love about the Divas is that I feel like you guys are like, you're changing the definition of the word diva.
I agree.
Because before I met any of the divas, to me, a diva was like Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
You know? Someone entitled, someone who thinks that she's above other people.
I agree. That's what
in a weird sense, right? And I think you girls are completely changing that. I think every single one of you are real women who come with real passion and real drive. And I think it's beautiful to see because it's like, yeah, those are real divas.
Thank you for seeing it like that. And I agree. We've gotten a lot of feedback on that, and also like housewives.
Yes,
thinking it's more like
exactly.
another housewife
Totally
show
not.
or gathering, and it's nothing.
It's totally
like
not.
That
No,
because
it's
we all
not.
come from different backgrounds. Some work 9 to 5s, others
Yes.
have multiple businesses.
Correct.
Others have babies, trying to figure out what they're meant to do.
Right.
And that space is for us, to have that gathering, that mastermind, that mentorship, to know that we can thrive together. There's no competition.
Yeah.
And as women, I think that's important too, because we are always competing of who's doing better, who looks better, who's wearing it best. And once we start collaborating, we see that shift within us and with our community. That's important that we need more of.
She's taller. She's this. Right?
Always, or I can't do that because of this. And they start comparing themselves. I'm like, when we stop comparing, we actually put in the work and we start realizing our potential.
Yeah.
And that your win is not my win. And I think that's another valuable thing to look at, right? That You might be going through all your wins right now because this is your breakthrough. God knows what you went through. You know, my time is not yet. And
right.
Once we start shifting that perspective, we realize that our time will come.
Oh, yeah.
But we just have to be patient in the process, help and support each other, because you never know when you're going to also need it yourself.
So tell me, what do you do as your role as president?
So president is gathering women together. We do masterminds, we do events, we do virtual meetups too.
Yeah.
Where we connect with one another, and it's just setting that platform that we need in order for us to come together. That I think that's what we lack on. That we don't have, like, we go to events and all we do is networking, or it's a particular niche, right?
Yeah.
Like real estate, for example. And you know you're only going there for that reason. This is for all walks of life. For us to get in one room, do our mastermind, connect, have that sisterhood, and see how we can support each other. So my goal is to continue to have that in place. It was 10 legacy members. I have 2, so we need 8 more to officially open our Miami chapter.
Okay.
And I know it's coming. You know, I
100%.
know it's more about spreading more awareness and making impacting with the vision and the mission behind it, which that's how we're gonna get to the right place.
What would you say is a qualification to be a diva?
That they are in the Miami area, that they are willing to learn, that they want to be surrounded by sisterhood, by mentorships, and that they're committed to show up at least once a month. Because I think that's where transformation happens, not just to say I'm part of it, but to actually commit to it. Again, it's for all women's, all walks of lives, whether they are just launching their business, they have their 9 to 5, they're just trying to find their purpose, they have multiple businesses. We're there to just support them and get them in a room with other empowering women and the community of the Divining Divas to support them in the process.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I'm going to connect my wife with you.
That would be amazing.
I think that's very cool.
I've seen all her content from your page, and she's so beautiful. And
Thank
I feel
you.
that, you know, the more that we can connect and the more that we can collaborate together, we can do big things.
100%. Together, we are stronger. Yeah. What's next for you? What are you planning? What are you working on?
My goal is to continue to be a voice. I want to continue to do more speaking engagement. That was my number one goal this year. Thankfully, I've been able to attend more events, more radio stations.
That's
bring
awesome.
More awareness to Taboo Talks Latina edition.
Yeah.
Because we have a big vision for it. Finally launch our Miami chapter for the Divas Network. I think that's going to bring us women together. That's going to help us heal in ways that we can't even imagine. You know, that we have to stop consuming content and really get in that face-to-face interaction that's needed.
Yeah.
And continue to be a present mom. My kids are growing up, you know, and I feel that this time I might take for granted sometimes, but they're 5 and 6, turning 7-1 on Saturday. And I'm really utilizing that time too to be present and still when I have the time to be with them.
It's a great ages.
It is. They drive me crazy, but when they go to bed, I'm like, it's all worth it. I'll get back to it tomorrow.
Yes.
You know, but I think it's important to set those boundaries and know that we can have our business, we can thrive in our personal life, and still make a difference.
How do you manage that? How do you balance your personal life and your business life?
Before I would tell you time management, but realistically with my kids being toddlers and having the schedule that I have with them, I gotta throw that out of the window.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
I would say to just learn what are your priorities, what is it that you want to get done and achieve, and then work with what you have, whether it's your 9 to 5, whether it's having to be a present mom, right? I get it, we don't have time, but even when they go to bed at 8 o'clock at night, I stay up 2 to 3 hours to work on the things I need to work on, even if that's the time that I have.
Right.
Or when they're at school, and even now in summer break, I'm going crazy, but I work around nap times or around the nighttime, right?
Right.
But setting those realistic goals, and I feel that if you don't have the vision or the mission behind of where you want to head, it's going to be harder, and you're going to tend to put the complaint on your kids, on your husband, on things that you got to do around the house because you're not setting those priorities when you have the time.
What keeps your fire going?
My kids. You know, I look back to the way I grew up, and even though, again, I don't take it for granted, I love my parents. I wish things were differently, right? And I want to set that example for my kids to know that they can thrive, they can dream big, that they can be rich, right? The aspect of making money,
Yes.
running their business. If they want to go to school,
That's
great.
so important.
And I think that's important, not having to follow that society expectation or the cultural expectation of what they should do, because that's what I know best.
Right.
It's teaching them that they can do big things. So my husband and I work on that to let them know that they can achieve anything they want, and that we are breaking those cycles as well of how we were taught.
How do you and your husband keep your marriage fresh, up to date? How are you guys as married couples?
Communication is key. And I know it's easier said than done, but
Yeah.
I've learned, especially as a woman, which is hard, instead of saying, I'm fine, or be mad the whole day,
Right.
let's confront it.
Right.
You did this, or you said this, or I saw this, or whatever the case might have been, right?
Right.
And I think as women, that's hard for us to do, because, we have that ego, or we just feel they don't love us. We overthink a lot.
Right.
Communication is that. And I also always laugh with him, because when I tell him something, even if I'm mad, he just looks at me and walks away. So it's just like, but get mad at me, talk to me. He's like, I don't want to argue. And I'm like, So it kind of just, it stops from like us getting in a fight.
Yeah.
And
Smart
I think
man.
that also comes with maturity, right? That it's to the point that it's like, it's fine, you'll be fine. Or you hungry, want me to order food? And I'm like, fine. So I think we work through it because we know each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. We've been 8 years together. We're just going to make a Monday a year married.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I think, it's keeping those things in mind of communication and knowing, again, each other's weakness and strength.
Yes.
And how we can support each other. Like, I know he's a businessman. And I also know I have the responsibility of thriving in my career, but also as a mom.
Right.
And it's not a burden, but not putting that on him because he's doing enough for us. Right?
And then being a wife.
And then being, yes. And then being a wife. That's
Taking all
correct.
these hats off and putting all these hats
I know
on.
it's hard for me, but he recognized that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a man out there, any man that are listening to us and yourself is recognizing those things too, having a good wife.
Yeah.
And being there for her, listening. That's all we want. Those little attentions or communication.
She said what to you?
Like you said, oh yeah, really? What happened? So having those communication, I think, is key. Just listening, which I feel we lack on, because again, society, scrolling, not being present, wishing that we had what other people have. And I've always go by, the grass is not cleaner on the other side.
It's really not.
It's not. So take care of
It's really
what you have.
not. Yes, water it.
Yeah.
Water your grass. It'll grow.
It'll grow, especially with communication and understanding each other. I think that's number one.
Yes. Why do you think so many marriages fail?
Letting themselves go. And I'm not just talking about how they look,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
but not having ambitions, not setting goals, not really understanding that what got you guys in the beginning, you let it go throughout your relationships. After 4 or 5 years, maybe less, you're like, oh, you get used to the person, thinking the grass is cleaner on the other side.
You stop chasing each other.
Stop chasing each other, calling, you're beautiful, love your haircut, little things that will make a difference, right? And
date night.
And date night, yes, whatever that is, whether it's ordering food, going on a
Right.
date, right?
Right.
Booking a random vacation.
Yes. No kids.
No kids, very important.
No kids.
And even when we have the kids, we
Yes.
look at each other and we're like, we got this.
Yeah.
Because, it's hard, but we know it's going to pass, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why they say, like, kids are going to grow, but your spouse is always going to be there.
Yes.
And
Hopefully.
right? Hopefully, yes, hopefully. But it's looking at that too, that I'm with my kids, but also being the best wife that I can be.
Yeah.
Because he's also a great husband to me. And I think that's important too. Like sometimes
100%.
we feel like, oh, my wife is not good, but are you good to her?
Right.
What is it that maybe you're lacking that she's not
Right.
receiving from you? And the other way around too. And it's going back to understanding each other and having that communication and knowing your strengths and really knowing like how we can support each other.
Right.
Even when you're mad or upset, like the little things that would light you up. And if we have more of that, I think we'll have more marriages, more healthy ones. And to stop the comparison on social media.
Yeah. I think it'll be a while before that happens, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think we're stuck comparing.
We're done, especially with the new generation too.
Yeah.
I feel they're just like living their best life, but not how it should be. And they think the grass is green on the other side. They're going based on what they see on social media. oh, this person brought me all these roses and chocolates and my husband doesn't bring me anything. We got to stop with that.
Yeah.
You know, because we all know, like, you got to know each other to understand. And also ask, like, when you don't feel that you're having that marriage or that relationship you want, right? Before you go into cheating or before you get into arguments, before you lose respect for each other.
Right. And there's so much fake stuff on the internet.
So much.
You know, with AI, you can
It's crazy, especially with
do whatever
AI.
you want nowadays.
You see stuff and I'm like, wait, that looks real, but I know it's not. Like, you can already tell, but at the same time, it's like, how many people think it's real?
Right.
And it's sad because, again, it goes back to and not just with spouse and relationships, but in our career.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, how is this person making so much when I've been stuck in my business for 3 years, right? Or how can I not evolve? Or why can I have that friendship? Or why can I have kids? Because we're constantly consuming, not the wrong content, but we're taking it to heart. You know, and I think, again, everything starts in our mindset, and I'm sure you can agree.
100%.
Of the way we look at stuff and knowing there's a time and place for everything and our season too. We can't compare.
No, you can't compare your day 1, someone's day 100.
Correct. And that's what I love about our stories, that once you hear people's story, you're like, now I know why you're having your breakthrough. Now I know why you're the way that you are. Right? Because to me, I had to learn and go through so much heartbreaks, miscarriages, so many contracts that didn't fall through, you know, and then I was like, why? Like, why is it all happening to me? Now I realize it, but if I would have quit, I wouldn't have been able to build Rooted in Her.
Right.
Or now co-founded Taboo Talks, now the president of the Divas Local, and it's giving that inspiration and that hope to anyone listening out there that, you know, you got to understand that everything you're going through is for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
Always go by, you know, life is not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yep.
And I stand by it because I've lived it. And everything I've built and everything I teach or I just simply share with you is things that I've lived, not what they told me or not what I assume.
Yep.
And the healing part of it, that sometimes I surprise myself that I've healed through it, without which I preach therapy, go to therapy, but I didn't go to therapy, right? Because of that belief in our system, right? Of like, eso tú no estás loca.
It's right.
You know, don't invest your money on that. It's a lot from the Latino household. But did I regret? Yes, I could have done a lot of more in a shorter time, dig through more of my trauma, or my healing. But that I had to do it by myself, I did. And I don't regret it because in the process, I also learned to rediscover myself.
That's important.
I think so, yeah.
Or I like to call it remembering yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think we come to this world and we forget who we are. And we're here to really remember who we are.
Yeah, we're robots, you know.
Yeah.
We're like, we went through this. We're like embracing the traumas and just being a voice for it. And when we do in Taboo Talks that we talk about those traumas, human trafficking, about all these stories of
That's crazy.
Women that have gone through, wow, so many hardships. You know, it's, you think about it and you're like, well, I thought I went through it, you know? And you always feel that you're going through it. But when you hear the stories, you're like, wow. And in that process, I also feel that I healed silently because I've been suffering quietly for so long. So when we have that platform that we get to hear others and we get to be a voice too, it helps us in the process.
100%. I feel like life is a delicate dance between moving and being patient.
Yeah.
Right? It's that delicate dance because sometimes you just got to be patient and wait because you're not mature enough. You haven't lived long enough, right? You got to go through life to really feel it. But then at other times, you just got to go, right? And it's that dance between the two, which is very interesting. And I think it requires living and maturity to come to that realization and understanding of there's a split.
Yeah, there is it.
You know?
And learning how to stay still. This year, I've been closer to God than ever before. I didn't grow up also in a household of believing in God. It's like we believe in God. We were Christian, but then we would also go to Catholic church. So I was confused, you know, of like, what are we?
Yeah.
But I've always believed in God.
Okay.
But fully started understanding him early this year. Like, and when I say fully understanding him is I turned myself, right? To like really listen to him, to pray, to really connect, to really give him everything.
What changed?
A couple of things. My husband and I really getting together in the belief of God, like together preaching God, going to church, building that foundation for our kids. We joined the 5 a.m. prayer call as well. So we met a lot of, empowering people in there that, you know, they preach God, but they walk also by God. And I remember recently my husband was at an event. I was at the house by myself. My mom had the boys. And I was listening to a worship song. And I just threw myself on the floor. I didn't know how to explain it, but I started crying.
Wow.
Crying hysterically for like 2 hours, to the point that my husband left the event. He called me. And I was like, I just started crying. I don't know why, but it's a good crying, you know?
Wow.
And I felt then I had this connection.
Just felt the Holy Spirit.
Yes. And I couldn't explain it. Only those who've been through it understand, right? And I felt it's because I've been through so much. And I've always told God, but why? But why? But I fully never like embraced it. I never opened up to him. I never gave him my problems. I never tried to reach him. It was only like, oh, thank you, God, for giving me this job. Or, you know, why did you took away my kids from the miscarriages I had?
Right.
Do you not want me to be a mom? It was always like,
As a podcaster, I needed a place to share my voice and hear other stories. That's how Forge Studios was born. A place created not just for me, but for everyone searching for something more. An environment where as soon as you walk in, you feel the energy and you feel welcomed. Where being seen and heard is part of the experience. A place for entrepreneurs to share their journey, for creators to bring ideas to life, for businesses to grow authentically. A space that values mental health, encourages real conversations, and supports those who turns ideas into impact. Here at the Forge Studios, creativity, culture, and purpose aligns and comes together to help you create something greater. A place where we leave the filters behind and we start expressing ourselves for real. The Forge Studio. Your journey starts here. Your impact starts now.
a love and hate relationship. So when I started really embracing him this year and giving him like whatever I thought before I wanted to do, I'm like, God, I'm not meant to do it. I'm just done with being stuck. I'm not embracing what I'm meant to do, my purpose. You've given me Rooted in Her, now Taboo Talks, all these platforms, and I'm still like not being grateful, not fully understanding my mission behind it when it was in front of me this whole time. And it was just me getting closer to God and understanding really like my purpose and letting go of the past, of what no longer serves me and what hurt me too, and stop carrying that with me. You know, and
so powerful.
I think that's important too, when you really just not say I believe in God, but actually walk by him.
What would you say that difference is, living and walking?
When I was just living it, it was just, thank you, God. Thank you for today. You know,
Okay.
I didn't really, not that I didn't mean it, but I
Right.
didn't feel that connection.
Right.
You know,
right.
oh God, please, I interviewed for this job. I hope I get it. Things that I recall from my past that it was just like,
More like, what
I
can
knew
you
there
do
was a
for me, God?
Yeah, there was a God, but
Right.
I never had that relationship with him. Same thing with, you know, understanding everything I went through. Like, why there's a God there when everything I went through, you know?
Why would God allow that?
Why would you allow that? You know, I was hurt, I'm your child. So a lot of healing that I had to do in the process, and know that it was not that he left me, not that I was alone. He was walking alongside me this whole time. I just never saw it.
He had his own plan for you.
Yeah, and that was part of my journey.
Right.
Of me and now understanding other women, understanding myself, and being the best mom and wife that I can be too, because now I'm building to become that person.
Yeah. I think you already are.
Thank you.
Yeah. 100%. I think what you're doing is very, very, very powerful. And I think that it takes so much courage. It takes so much strength to raise your hand and say, I'm going to lead. Follow me. Right? I'm going to set the example. I'm going to be the standard. I'm going to show you how it's done. And you take all the criticism and you take all the praise also, right? But it's not easy.
No, especially when you're going through your own healing.
Yes.
And when you're going through your own
Right.
traumas. And
Yeah.
you're still trying
You're
to battle.
also living life for the first time. You're also learning as you go along, you know? But I think that's what makes you a leader. The fact that even though I'm also going through it, I can help you go through it.
Yeah, thank you.
We can go through it together, right? I'm here for you, you're there for me, and together we got this.
We got this.
Yeah.
And that's the message I always want to get across.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm not perfect, and I still have my moments that I doubt myself, that I'm still trying to figure it out, that I've been pivoting so much that I'm like, okay, God, what do you want me to do?
Right.
But it's just really understanding that we all go through there.
Yeah.
Especially when we transition in all the roles that we have as women, it's really hard.
Yeah.
You know, and some days are going to be better than others, but having that community and that foundation does make a difference.
Women are so powerful. We got to find a way to make it less hard for women.
Yeah. So I feel we carry so much guilt.
Yeah.
And that's like the number one overall when you ask a woman, it's the guilt. The guilt of not doing enough. The guilt of either do I have to work or I'm a stay-at-home mom, you know, you can't do your career and
Right.
have a thriving household, right? Because
No.
they feel like we can't balance it because they don't allow us, right?
Right.
You're stuck at the office all day or you're stuck at home all day. And always having that guilt if you can't do, you're not doing enough.
Right.
You have to do more. And I think also that was for me the breakthrough of like, I needed to find the space to know that we're suffering, you know, that we need to be heard. And that's when Rooted in Her started. I was crying in my boys' room. They were probably, 1 or 2. They were very small. And I remember just crying, and I didn't understand. I was like, but why am I crying? I should be happy. I have my 2 kids. They're a blessing. My husband, you know, we're doing good. And I knew it was missing because of that shift of identity, of like everything I was before to the person I'm becoming postpartum, that as women, we don't get pat in the back, right? I see
No, you really don't.
Things, conversation about postpartum. You either have to go back to work, you have to go through your emotions, you still have to wake up in the middle of the night.
It's so tough.
It's tough,
Yeah.
you know? And obviously as men, they don't realize it, they don't understand, because we women go through it, and I'm sure men do too. But then when it comes to women, it's just having that guilt of like, we don't get to embrace every transition. It's constantly either before motherhood, postpartum, navigating to now being a mom full time. It's so much.
Yeah.
So it's having that guilt as a woman.
And then you got a baby.
So
you
it's
got a baby
so
to take
much.
care of.
So it's going through it as a woman, you know, that we have a lot of roles and that we don't get the recognition for, but also the support system that we need.
Good for you for building it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good for you for providing that space for women to feel safe, to feel comfortable, be able to share and grow and create and be vulnerable and really lean on each other.
Thank you. And for giving me a space to be a voice. I think that's important, especially as a man, right? To utilize your space also for other women.
Thank you.
To own their power, to embrace it. Because I think we need more of that. You know, it's not just women, men. It's both of us.
I agree.
And
The
we
unity.
can thrive together.
Yes.
You know, we can connect each other with powerful people. And we can lead.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like it's always like a man rule of like, I'm going to lead, you know, you back me up. No, we can both lead.
100%.
And I think that's as important because we both have our strength and weakness.
Oh, yeah. There are so many scenarios where I go to my wife, no, you lead. You're better at this than I am. You know, I'll happily take that back seat.
Yeah.
She's so much better at it than I am.
You admit it too.
Why would I
There's
even
nothing wrong with
try?
that.
I'm not even gonna try. She's so much better at it. Let's go. You lead. Let's go. I have no issue. I kind of prefer it.
Yeah, please take this.
Yes.
But I think, that's important to recognize that.
Yes. I think there's so many things that we're all talented in our own way, right? And if we can recognize the talent in that person and let them shine their talent, everybody will be better off.
Yeah. And there's something about a power couple, you know, when you see them together, it's on stage,
Yes.
at an event, in your household, you know, that they're like, wow, that's inspiring.
Right.
Because not only do you get to do what you guys love and are passionate about, but you get to support each other.
Yes.
And that's powerful when you have your husband or your wife support you in your journey, whatever that is.
It really is.
And then still be a good father or a good wife, still show off for everything else that we have on our to-do list.
100%. Because I think as humans, all we want is be loved and be appreciated.
Yeah.
And be heard, right? And if we can find someone who can do that for us and be there for us it gives us the freedom to breathe and to go create and to go be.
Yeah, you nailed it. And that's what we lack more of. And
Yeah.
that's why we're building the platforms and the foundation so we can be seen, we can be heard, and we can have that platform in order to utilize like our strength and our voices more often.
However I can help, please let me know.
Thank you, likewise.
I am
really
all for it.
appreciate
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I whatever I can do, let me know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for what's to come. I know that,
Yes.
you know, especially with God always being next to me, but really aligning me this year with the right people, with the right opportunities, I feel that I'm walking in that path right now.
That's incredible. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I wish you much, much, much success.
Thank you so much. It's been
Please look at that camera. Let everybody know where they can find you, your social media, your website, your coaching program, whatever you want to share.
You can find me at I am Jeanette Miranda. Also, Facebook, I have a women empowerment community under Rooted in Her. This is her becoming. I also have connected on my bio all the links with all the articles, all the different ways you can connect with me. Whether you want to be a guest on Taboo Talks, Latina edition, you want to join our Divas Local chapter, or you're looking for more mindset, community empowering coaching one-on-one, or my school community, feel free to reach out. It will be an honor to speak with you.
I'll make sure to add all those links down below.
Perfect. Thank you.
Listen, I want to be a guest on Taboo Talks.
That would be amazing.
I would love to. I think that would be so cool.
You know, we usually have target women, but a lot of more men are coming forward.
Yeah.
That, you know, you guys also go through it.
100%.
We have so many taboos that we can talk about.
Yes.
And I feel like men don't have the community of empowering and like really talking about mindset.
Yes.
Or talking about those taboos.
Yes.
You know, and I think it's needed. So I
Count
would
me
love
in.
that.
I would love that. That'd be so cool.
Will do.
Cool.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Guys, go follow her. She's awesome. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and we'll see you guys next time.